Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my new video. In the previous video, we saw how to implement HTTPS, but surprisingly, it's not enough for security. So in today's video, we will be implementing reverse proxy. So what is a reverse proxy? A reverse proxy is a server, like say Nginx, that sits in front of our application server, Node.js, and handles incoming HTTPS requests on behalf of us. So it basically does the job to handle all the HTTPS requests, or I should say HTTP requests, which we are receiving, and it's going to do a lot of stuff with that. So, what is it exactly doing? So, the uses of reverse proxy is nothing but we can hide our ports, we can port forward it, and we can do HTTPS termination, we can do load balancing, and we can add an extra layer of security. But in our case, we are not going to use all of them. So it will be only used for proxy pass, port hiding, and HTTP redirection. So these are the three things which we are going to implement today. And don't worry, it sounds very complicated, but it is not. I'll make it very, very simple. It's going to be the simplest tutorial you have seen on YouTube, right? So before we get into it, what we are going to do is let's clear out the terminal first and let's go to our postman. In the last video, we tested out few things, correct? So we're going to send an request to an HTTPS protocol. And as you can see, we are going to, yeah, we got the response and it's okay right now. But let's go ahead and run our application. So it's deploy VM and let's npm run start. So we are going to run our Node.js application. And as you can see, it is running at port 3000, correct? Now, if you previously remember what we used to do to get the request from port 3000, we simply added, this part right here, column 3000, saying that I want to send a request to the port 3000 at this domain. But previously we did it with that IP. We did it with like our IP address. But now the IP address is like hidden behind this, right? So we are going to use our domain name. Let's go ahead and send it and see what is going to be the response. As you can see, there's an error in this response. So this basically is nothing but, when you have a web server and when you don't initialize or when you don't set it up, we can't just directly access a certain port. It's going to, say it's not going to allow you basically. So for that, we have to separately set it up. So now, how do we actually set it up? So guys, follow this tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and do certain steps. Just, just ape it. Just do the same. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is let's, stop the server and then clear it out and then go back. And from here, go to the root. And from here, I have my commands ready. What I'm going to do is go to this location. So this location is nothing but cd/etc/nginx/site available. So what it's going to do is it's going to take me to certain directory. Boom, here, and let me do ls. As you can see, there is a default file. This is nothing but the config file of Nginx. As I earlier said that we need to configure our web server to send requests to, certain port or, certain, yeah, ports. So we need to have some configuration. So let me see how it looks like. Let's cat a default. So this is how our initially the file looks like, right? And don't worry, we are not going to do anything in here. So the next thing you want to do is you just delete that file. Yes, you heard me right. Let's delete that file. So sudo rmrf and default, right? Let's delete it. Boom, it's not there anymore. Now let's create a new file named default. Again, sudo touch. We can do default, right? That's the name. Boom, we created it. Now this default is empty. Now I'm going to, give a Nginx code right here. This is a setup Nginx setup code. So I'm going to be pasting this in the description. You can go copy ahead. But the only thing you have to understand here is what is the code doing. You don't need to, write it on your own. First thing it's doing is it's listening to port 80. Correct? Port 80 is nothing but HTTP. Okay, it listens to port 80, and the server name is nothing but our DNS, right? Our domain name basically. So this is our domain name, right? And this is www dot our domain name again. So you have to paste down your domain name here. Okay, and then it's going to return 301 https colon slash slash host and request URI. So what does that mean? So it's nothing but the what is a host here? Host is nothing but our domain name. So domain name is going to be our host, and request URI is the route we are sending to. So the route could be slash API slash authentication slash, about. So anything it could be. So this is going to just return HTTPS. So basically it is receiving HTTP request and it is forwarding it to like HTTPS. So it's going to forward it to port 443. So now the port 443 is going to listen to SSL. So basically it is listening to HTTPS requests, correct? Again, the same thing, server name, your domain names, right? And then this is the important part. If you remember in the last video, I told you to save the location of the SSL certificate and the SSL certificate key. Now, what you want to do is you want to type in SSL certificate and then paste down your location of your SSL certificate here. The same thing can be done to SSL certificate key, and make sure there's a space between them. There should be a space saying that this is my SSL certificate and this is my SSL certificate key. So this is going to, help you, or this is going to automate everything for you, the SSL we talked about in the previous video. Correct. And then the next part is location. The only thing you have to worry about here is the proxy pass. So what it is saying is basically when I get a request to my server, either the port 443 or port 80, what I'm going to do is I'm going to proxy pass it to port 3000. So that means basically the server is sitting in front of our Node.js server, and whatever requests it is receiving, it is directly going to forward it to port 3000. Okay, so I'll show you what that means, but yeah, let's go ahead and paste this in our Nginx server configuration. Let's go copy, and then let's go over here, and I'm going to do sudo nano default, and I'm simply going to control V. Correct. Now control X and Y to save it, and now I can press on enter, and it's saved right now. Let's make sure it is saved. Cat default. Boom, it is saved, and this is my current configuration of Nginx. So once I do this, I have to restart my server. So in order to restart Nginx, you have this command over here, sudo systemctl restart Nginx. It's just going to restart Nginx. We are going to restart Nginx right now because we want it to run on the new configurations. Simple as that. So we'll just sudo systemctl restart Nginx, and boom, it has successfully restarted. Now all you have to do is go to cd and then home, and then go to your deploy VM, the Node.js application. And now here we are going to pm run start. We are going to start it. Okay, now our server is running at port 3000. Correct, our Node.js application is ready to be served. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the request to port 3000 once again. It's going to take some time, but it's not going to get me a request because there's an error. Okay, but we just set it up, right? The thing we set up there is something called as proxy pass. Like I explained, proxy pass is nothing but whenever Nginx receives certain request, it's going to pass on that request to port 3000. That's what it means. So if you go ahead and see here, localhost, it is basically passing the request to http slash localhost 3000. That is like the location of our Node.js application where it is running. Correct. Where if your Node.js application or any application is running on port 5000, you gotta put this port 5000 here. Correct. And now that being said, now I'm just going to remove this app and I'm going to send. As you can see, now I got a response, hello from the virtual machine. This response is nothing from, we are getting this response from the Node.js application. So that is how, reverse proxy works. Now, even if I send a request to HTTP, I'm going to get the same response, and it is going to forward it to HTTPS. It's not a just plain HTTP request. So this is going to increase our security and also going to make our VM very safe, because when you expose the port, people can DOS attack or do a lot of attacks, right? It's not really safe. So now what we are doing is we are hiding our port behind our Nginx. That's our reverse proxy. So that is it, guys. That is as simple as it can get. So I've tried to boil it down to the simpler, like the simplest possible. So I hope you enjoyed the video or learned something new. You can set it up as well. It's not a big deal at all. Thank you for watching the video. Meet you in the next one.